Hey guys, Son of Liberty here. Over the past 4 years, I've been getting a lot of questions about appendix carry. And they are very common questions that you'll see even on forums and Facebook pages. Is appendix, carrying, is it comfortable? When you're driving, is it comfortable? Does your seatbelt get in the way? Does it hurt when you bend over to tie your shoe? Are you able to bend over while you're carrying appendix? I mean, these are all, very legitimate questions. And so I felt like that it was time for me to put a video review or a discussion, open discussion of appendix carry and kind of give you my experience with it over the past 4 years. So to give you a little bit of background, 4 years ago, I started carrying appendix after going to a Haley strategic course. Now, all the instructors at that time were carrying appendix. Now, this was before that it ever even became mainstream. So, it wasn't a very common thing like it is today. We've seen a huge explosion over the past 2 years of manufacturers finally getting on board and are starting to produce a lot more appendix rigs, which is a benefit for people like me and other people who carry appendix. Now, during the class, we had a lot of questions for the instructors, just like everybody else does who is learning about something for the first time. They didn't try to sell it to us. They didn't try to shove it down our throat. They basically just said, look, we feel like that this is a very efficient way to carry. Go home, get your shot timers, run your drills how you carry now, and then go back and run them appendix and see which one you're faster at. And without a doubt, I was faster at appendix, much faster. And so from that point forward, I started carrying appendix and started training to become more efficient at it. All right, let's talk about mentality and intent real quick. If you are on your way back from a store and you're in the parking lot, which we refer to as transitional spaces, and you are robbed or held at gunpoint, or somebody attempts to rob you, who has the advantage? Obviously, the person that is robbing you does, because he has intent, and he has the intent to act upon something. Action, as we know, is always going to be faster than reaction. And we have the disadvantage because we are reacting to a situation. When we're at the range and we are running drills with timers and stuff like this, it's a good idea for training purposes to have an idea of how fast you can be. But we know that this is coming. We know that, between a second or 6 seconds, this thing is going to make a sound and we're going to draw and fire however many rounds that we're training with. All right. But that's not real life. Real life is when you're out and about in these transitional spaces and something happens, all right? Now, we need to be aware of our surroundings, but you cannot be 100% on point and aware of your surroundings and everybody in that situation or that area at all times. It's impossible. Your body cannot maintain that level of alertness, okay? Or situational awareness. So, my mentality is that appendix gives me an advantage. It at least stacks the cards as much in my favor as I can get them. All right. So if I was able to shave off, let's say, 3/10 of a second, 2/10, even a 1/10 of a second off of my draw consistently, and you were able to duplicate that, would you not take that? Why not? Would you take that time if it was offered to you in a gunfight? Well, of course you would. All right. So why not consider that as a way and an option to carry? All right. So I went and was doing some research, and according to the research that I found, Sergeant Dennis Toller of the Utah Police Department in 1983 set out to do some research because he was curious of how fast an attacker with a knife could attack a person with a holstered weapon. And how fast they could do it, okay? And based on that research, we have, of course, the Toller drills. And you can do your own research and look it up. But, the average human can cover the distance of 21 feet in 1.5 seconds, all right? So my mentality is I need to be effectively able to draw consistently from concealment and fire at least a minimum of 2 shots in less than that time frame. Now, let's even push it even further. It's probably realistically gonna take my brain about a half of a second for me to even realize what is even happening, and probably to even process the fact that it's actually happening to me at this time. All right, so I'm going to shave off an additional half a second. My goal and my mentality and with my training is to be consistently drawing my firearm from concealment and firing 2 shots in under a second. Right now, my best time lately has been 1.18, and that's just not acceptable. So I'm continuing to push myself with the training. All right, so let's talk about carrying the firearm while driving. All right, guys, so I'm going to be sharing with you how I set myself up for success while I'm in the vehicle. All right, so first and foremost, always wear a seatbelt. Now, real quick, for the people who carry strong side, this seatbelt adds a level of complexity to your draw. Now, there are a lot of theories and a lot of ways that are taught on how to properly draw your firearm if you are carrying strong side and you're in a seatbelt. One of the most probably common ways to do that is with your left hand. It's called swimming out of the seatbelt. You take your left hand underneath the seatbelt, all right? You depress either with this hand or with your free hand. You depress the button, right, to get free. You make sure you swim out of it so that you're not caught up in your belt. You lean forward, you pull your firearm, you drive out over, and you use the top of the seat or the steering wheel as a guide, right? Drive that over so you're not flagging yourself, and you go to work. I just feel like that is adding a level of complexity, okay? I feel like that Appendix has the advantage here. So what I do to set myself up for success, first thing I do, let me grab the camera, is I will pull my shirt out from behind the actual belt itself, all right? Now, after I've done that, the next step I do is I take my seat belt and I guide it down inside of this channel here, all right? So we've got the seat belt here, the fold of the pants are right here. I just basically push the seat belt down inside of here so that way it doesn't impede with anything that I've got right here, all right? So this is how I will normally drive, all right? You can see there. Now, when I go into those areas that I consider high threat, and what I mean by that is areas like an ATM. If I was to be robbed, that is going to be probably a place that is going to increase my chances of something happening, all right? Or let's say, for example, I am at a parking lot and I'm waiting for my wife to come out, and there's a situation unfolding. Maybe there is a guy that is, maybe he's going to approach my vehicle and ask me for money, and now he's going to rob me. You just never know, or try to carjack me, all right? Now, so if I'm in those situations or I see something that is transpiring that I feel like that I need to go to the next level, all right, so the next thing that I'll do is I'll take my shirt and I will tuck it in behind the holster itself. So let me just show you. I'm gonna put the camera down here for just a second because I want to do this properly. So let me show you now. So this is the next level that I will go to, okay? Especially if I am traveling and I'm in an unfamiliar area and it looks like it's a pretty shady area, all right? So you can see there, it's very low profile. It just lays right there against the stomach, and I'm able to do anything I need. If I need to get to this extra magazine, I can. Draw my firearm. I don't have to overcome or defeat my garment, my seatbelt, nothing. I can literally just draw the firearm and go to work. Now, let me just show you how quick those draws can be and show you a situation of how I do it when I'm going to an ATM. that's it. You're gone.
Alright guys, so let's talk about appendix holsters. Let's say you have made the decision to start carrying appendix, and now it's time to start looking for a holster. Alright, I'm going to show you a couple of the different holsters that I have ran and still continue to run today. And these are holsters that I have found to be very comfortable. They meet all of my expectations. They are low profile and have a very low signature. Meaning, you know, they print a very minimum if they print at all. So now if you've been following the channel for a while, you will recognize these two holsters here in the middle. This one here is from Frank Proctor, Way of the Gun. I've actually modified this one here to accept threaded barrels. This one will accept RMR. This is a very inexpensive option for somebody who is trying to maybe decide if they want to carry appendix. Okay, you know, it's a great option because you can run it either or. However, if you are going to make the decision to run appendix, it does need to be something that you need to fully commit to, because with anything, it may feel a little uncomfortable in the beginning, but as time progresses, you will become more comfortable with it. So this one is designed to carry either or, like I said, and because of the design. Alright, now this one tends to print actually more than any of the other ones that you see, and that really comes down to the fact that it has no raven claw or no additional claw to help in to bring the buttstock in, and I actually explain that in some of the holster reviews that I've done. So I'm going to put that one off to the side. This one here is from a company called Bell Solutions. Just real quick, we are dealing with safe firearms. I made them safe before I started the video. This one here features the Ravenclaw. Just has a single plastic ejection or injection molded plastic clip. Set on a Kydex holster. Very, very nice. I like the fact that it's open, so it will accommodate threaded barrels. This one is designed for the APL light from Enforce, which I am a huge fan of. And if you'll notice here, I've actually got a little bit of some flexibility depending on if I want to run this gun or this gun. They are interchangeable between the holsters. And that is something that I really like. So anyway, this is a setup that I really like. You could run this one strong side. However, because of the Ravenclaw, it is primarily designed for an appendix setup. Alright, so that's just to kind of give you an option. Now, there is a very long wait on these, so if you are in the market and you really like this, it is going to take some time. This is a very flush finish. This guy does a really good job. You can look him up, Veil Solutions, and any of these links or any of these holsters that I'm talking about, I will either post a link to the review that I've done on that, which will also contain the link to the website where you can order these, or I will contain a link directly to the manufacturer's website. Alright, so that's the one from Veil Solutions. This one here is from a company called Tuck Tight. I just recently done the review on this one. This is a very nice setup, a lot of attention to detail. Again, features the Ravenclaw. Now these, what you're going to notice between the two that we just previously talked about and these two is going to be the angle. Now let me show you a side-by-side comparison. Do you see how both of these are angled? That is designed to contour to the body, okay, and that's the reason why that they are designed that way. This one here is the Glock 43. I do like the fact that I am able to run additional magazines in both of these rigs, and so I will predominantly carry them. Now, it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that you're planning to be in some kind of extended gunfight. Statistics will support that that is not the case. Alright. However, Murphy's Law will tell us that if something could go wrong, it's going to go wrong at the worst possible time. And so what these extra magazine carriers do is not only does it offset some of the weight, alright, it kind of helps balance the weight so it's not so much on one side. But what it does is it allows the you the ability, if you need to eject this magazine because you've had a malfunction, it may be a bad magazine. So when you eject that mag, now you've got a fresh brand new magazine to be able to insert. Alright, so anyway, that one's from Tuck Tight. And the last one here is probably one of the most common ones that you're going to see, is the, or you'll hear a lot of people talk about. This is the T-Rex Sidecar. Lucas is the owner of the company, and he does a really great job. Now, there's going to be some variation differences in between these holsters. One of the things that gives this the benefit is it's what I'm going to call a relaxed fit. Okay, now I can tighten this up even more, but you'll see that there's no positive click. It just slides in there. It's really easy to get out. Okay, versus where the Veil Solutions, you'll notice when you go to put this in, you get a little bit of a positive click, which just is an identification that it is kind of locked into place. This one just has a lot more, let's say, retention. It's a little bit more tighter fit. So again, it's all personal preference. When it comes to these types of setups, I generally like to have this relaxed, loose fit. Now, there are some cons to that, because sometimes when I am doing time drills, I will get sometimes this magazine will actually come loose sometimes, and I may drop it during draws. One of the things that I wish that Lucas would incorporate is the implementation of the Ravenclaw. Now, he has his own style design, which basically is just heat treated and bent Kydex. I like the more aggressive Ravenclaw, and I think it does make a difference. Now I'm going to show you a side-by-side comparison here. See, you can see that there is a huge difference in between the aggressiveness of these two. However, this one works just fine. Okay, so anyway, just wanted to spend a few minutes with you guys discussing some of the the variation of holsters that are out there in the market today. There is a lot to choose from, guys. So again, it may behoove you, if you're trying to find out if it's going to work for you, to maybe start with something like this, or something similar, before upgrading to one of these other holster systems that are going to take up a little bit more room or real estate inside your pant line, and with the additional magazine, because you are going to feel a weight difference on your belt, and that's why it's so critical to wear a very good supportive belt, guys. So I hope that answers a lot of your questions that you may have. Alright guys, so one of the questions that I do get a lot is what kind of belt do I need to buy if I want to carry Appendix? And so I thought it would be a good idea to share with you guys the belts that I rotate through on a weekly basis. Now, there are some very important features in a belt that I look for since I only carry Appendix. And we're going to talk about those. You are going to see some commonalities between these belts. Now, two of these belts I've actually done very detailed reviews on. This one here on the top, which is the Frank Proctor Way of the Gun Covert Belt, and the one on the bottom, which is the Trakeline EDC Gun Belt. I'll make sure to post those video links down below in the video description. Alright, so let's get into it. These belts are very low profile and very thin. This one here is from, again, the Way of the Gun, Frank Proctor. So what I look for, again, is a very thin, low profile. I also look for a belt buckle that is going to basically print the absolute least. Okay, so I look for a low profile belt buckle like you see here, or no belt buckle at all. Even with, and I actually loop these around the D-ring and just actually back over to the Velcro. You can wear it either way. However, even with it looped around, you can see that is a very, very low profile. Alright, this belt without a doubt will support my gun. It has internal stiffeners. Okay, so that is that belt. This one here is actually from Misalliance, which is from Navy SEAL Dom Rosso, excuse me. He's got his own company, and this is his version of the EDC gun belt. Okay, now This one has a lot of features very similar to the Frank Proctor way of the gun, but I want to show you, again, the benefits to having this belt. Again, no buckle whatsoever, so you don't have anything to worry about. It's very thin webbing, okay? And there's no issues with this supporting the weight of the gun itself. And this is the one that I'm going to be demonstrating the benefits of the types of belts that I'm demonstrating for you today here in just a few moments. The one here in the this orange one here, this burnt bronze, whatever you want to call it, this is the only exception to the belts that I've got actually laid out. Now, this one is not a gun belt or an EDC belt. This is just a very low profile, very comfortable belt that I picked up from Arc'teryx. Now, this one has a very small, very light, or a very low profile belt buckle signature, which is important to me. It meets my criteria for very thin. Now, the only issue with this one is that I have to be very specific on what pants that I wear this with. I can't just wear it with anything, because what happens, and this is the thing that I've talked about in some of my previous videos, is that this will create sag. This one here is a lot of flexibility. Okay, it's a nylon type material. The problem with this is if I just wear this with anything, the actual holster itself, while I'm wearing it, will sag, and so what happens is as you're wearing the belt, it will want to sag forward, okay? And this is what's going to create that printing effect, and this is what I want to prevent, okay? So if I wear a very specific select few pants, this is not an issue while wearing this belt. It's very comfortable. Last but not least is the Trackline EDC gun belt. Now, this one does have a buckle, okay, which kind of goes against my criteria. Now, while you're wearing just a regular shirt, this one really isn't going to print. However, when it comes to appendix carriers, this generally poses a little bit of an issue. However, this is the exception to the rule. This one was specifically built for carrying a gun and all the other items that you carry on a regular basis. It meets that thin profile criteria. There is no doubt that this belt will hold up, because this one actually has an insert on the center of it, or in the center of it. Let me see if I can get a good look there. You can see that plastic shim, or that insert, that goes through the entire belt. So it's essentially like a polymer or plastic shim, reinforced shim, all the way through the belt with the leather that's wrapped around it. Okay, so there's no question that this will hold up the weight of a gun, and again, I've done a very detailed review of this one. So anyway, let me show you, I'm going to demonstrate the Donna Misalliance and show you some close-ups of why I select and look for very specific features of a belt for appendix carry. Alright guys, so I've got the Donna Misalliance gun belt here. Let me go ahead and put this on real quick and show you the benefits or the reasons that I look for very specific belts. Okay, now this one again has no belt buckle, so it's essentially just straight up Velcro here, okay, in the front. Now, the reason that I look for very specific belts is because I need this to be able to move over to the left. Okay, I'm right-handed. The gun itself is going to go here, so let me go ahead and put my holster on. Now, what I do is once I actually get the holster on, I go ahead and do a couple test draws just to make sure that when I go to reholster, I don't get a lot of sag. It's not dropping down when I go to reholster. That's going to be critical. I need the gun to stay in place. All right. Also, too, one of the benefits is that if I need to move this to the left or to the right, I can do that with these low profile type belts. Okay. I may not need it to be directly in the center. I may need it to be, a little bit off to the right. All right. Also, you'll notice that I moved this belt over to the left. The reason being is because if I had kept the Velcro lapsed or overlapped in the center and then put my holster on. If it was too tight, I'd have to take it off, readjust it, repeat that process. From here, if I need to adjust it, all I do is I pull the top flap out. I hold the piece here with my left hand, pull it out. I just kind of relax, readjust, put the Velcro back on, and now I'm good to go. Okay, so again, that's the reason why I look for very specific belts. Now, one of the belts that I showed earlier had a belt buckle, which was the Trackline EDC. Now, I'm going to show you how you actually don these particular types of gun belts. Alright, so now I've got the EDC gun belt from Trackline. Alright, so let me go ahead and don this. Now, it's very important when you're putting, at least this is the way that I do it. Everybody can adjust and do things a little bit differently, but this is how I put these very specific belts on, instead of looping it through the first one. Alright, and here's the reason why. I can't adjust it once I get it on. It won't go through the actual belt loop itself. Alright, so what I do is I loop it through the second one here. Alright, go ahead and get this on. Now, I feed this piece through that first loop, and then I go ahead and I adjust it. Again, very convenient because all I have to do is just click it. Alright, feed it through the clasp. Now, this way, as I put the belt on, or excuse me, as I put the holster on, what I'll do is I'll move this clasp, okay, over here as far as I can. Alright, now if I need to adjust this one, all I do is simply pull, or if it's too tight, there's a button release here on the bottom. All I do is I'm just going to hold the holster itself in place, and then just kind of pull and just kind of relax a little bit, and it just adjusts. Okay, that way I do that. The buckle itself is laying very close to my body, and you can see here it's very concealable. Okay, and even though that this one again goes against the criteria, this one is designed for carrying a gun. It's very comfortable. One of the huge benefits to a specific belt like this is that there is no sag whatsoever. I mean, it's there. It's permanent. Okay, very, very comfortable. Again, show you from a side view. Now, of course, if you bend over specific ways, but most people, psychologically, we don't look at this area on a person's body. Okay, so most people don't even know that you're actually carrying. Okay, one of the issues that I had to overcome is when I first started carrying, I felt like that everybody knew. Okay, everybody was looking there, and that's not the case. One of the worst things that you can do is to settle for, an old leather belt out of your closet, and now you're constantly readjusting it. You're doing this deal, you're doing that deal. You get a good belt and a good holster, and you won't ever have to worry about that ever again. So anyway, these are just a few things that I wanted to show you guys when it comes to the types of belts that I carry on a regular basis. Alright guys, so one of the other questions that I do get a lot is, can you tie your shoe while appendix carrying, and how uncomfortable is it, or is it even possible? So let me just demonstrate for you guys and kind of walk you through what the holster is doing and how uncomfortable or bearable that it is. Okay, now I'm going to squat down just for demonstration purposes. In this position I am completely comfortable. Alright, there's no discomfort whatsoever from here, and even if I needed to, I can still draw from this position. Okay, no issues at all. Alright, now, so if your shoe becomes untied, generally what I will do is I'll take a knee. So if it's my left shoe that's come untied, I'll just take a knee, bend down, do what I need to do. Now, what you'll start to feel is you'll feel a slight pressure maybe in the pelvis bone area, but it is not uncomfortable at all. Now keep in mind, I'm right-handed, so the gun is oriented towards or closer to my right leg. Alright, again, I could sit in this position for quite some time without any
issues whatsoever. All right. Now, where you're going to have some discomfort is if your right shoe becomes untied. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure that the angle gets it all. At this position here, while I'm bending over and we're taking a knee, this is the most comfortable way to do this. All right. You are going to feel more discomfort in your pelvis bone for your right leg. All right, and it's just the nature of the beast. It's just the way that it is. Other than that, there are really no disadvantages that I feel for appendix. All right. So one of the things people also ask me is, can you bend over? I don't know why this seems to be such a such a common question, but I can almost bend over and touch my shoes. All right, and I've got a lot of bad back issues. Okay. There is, other than the back issues that I've had, there is no discomfort with this whatsoever. All right. All right, guys, want to take this opportunity to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I know that it was long, but that's going to pretty much wrap up today's discussion on appendix carry. I felt like it was important to discuss a lot of the different areas if you are considering carrying appendix, and I do hope that you were able to find some benefit from this video. A couple things real quick though before I go. I want to make sure to mention this. As a safety precaution before carrying appendix, I feel like that it would be beneficial if you're a little unsure about it, especially when it comes to drawing and firing the handgun and reholstering. Go to the range, but before you even do that, take some time and do a lot of dry fire drills at home in the safety of your house with an unloaded firearm. I believe that will give you some advantages before you go live fire. Also, if you've got an iPhone, most of the iPhones have a slow-mo portion or a selection that you can select. Watch yourself on a video, watch yourself on slow-mo, and really break it down and find out when you go to draw your firearm where you're actually reaching for that trigger to make sure that you are not doing it prematurely. Okay, as we know, it doesn't matter if you're carrying strong side or appendix. Premature actions for a firearm can have some very bad consequences. So anyway, just keep that in mind, guys, and thank you so much again. Until next time, take care, be safe.